Welcome to another episode of the Toastcast podcast series of District 82, initiative by the public relations team of District 82 Toastmasters International. So today we have an interesting personality here with us, and I am, of course, personally knowing him, I guess, 2-3 years back, ever since I started my Toastmasters journey. And for Toastmasters, he's not someone who's new, but a very familiar face, and also, I believe, a mentor to many, and also an inspiration. And most of all, he's a very handsome gentleman with a lot to take home with the messages, inspiration. Okay, I'm not going to blabber a lot. So let me introduce today's guest, who is none other than Distinguished Toastmaster Mafaz. So Distinguished Toastmaster Mafaz has a 12 years experience in Toastmasters. So that's pretty lot, right? And yes, he's the past district chief judge and the past district PR manager of District 82. And he's also the CEO at Chief Storyteller at Show and Tell Presentations. So, Distinguished Toastmaster Mafaz, how are you feeling?
I am feeling much better now, Prasansa. It's been a long time since I've been introduced as handsome. So thank you for that. You've really calmed my nerves down.
I made sure that I will do it. And welcome you on board for this episode.
Yeah, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here and pleasure to be part of this program. Looking forward to seeing what we can share and talk about today.
Exactly. So there's something interesting coming up with this series. So to break the ice, I believe I broke the ice with my introduction, but then again to break the ice of both of us, okay, I'm going to just ask a random question. If you happen to get a superpower, if someone is going to offer you a superpower, what would it be and why?
To be honest, I think there are a lot of things I wish I could do, and I wish there was, it wasn't limited to one superpower. But if I had to pick one, I would say I would love to have the power to teleport somewhere.
Oh, right.
Because I'm a huge believer that, life experiences is what make us who we are.
Exactly.
Right? And as much as Sri Lanka has a lot to offer, I think, the more you experience in the world, the more people you meet, the more conversations you have, that's when you really start finding yourself, right? So personally, if I had one option, it would be to be able to teleport to any place on this earth, just to see, hear, be a part of different communities, and try to bring all of that back to be a better version of myself.
Really nice, because whenever I hear someone telling the answer teleport, it's a different idea that they bring out. But now when you brought out the element of experiences, gaining insight and all, okay, that's very interesting. So yeah, I think let's get into the, not formal, but then again, the interesting stuff we are going to discuss throughout this episode. All right, so I'm a firm believer that more than me introducing you, if you can introduce yourself in terms of professional life, because most of our Toastmasters, I mean, almost everyone know who you are. But then again, your professional aspect, and I believe your Toastmasters journey has a lot to do with your professional journey. So if you can give a, brief introduction, or else you can give a glimpse about your professional journey, and also some bits of your personal life as well, if you love to share with us. Yes.
Yeah, sure. So generally when people ask me, who I am, I don't like to define myself by titles and designations. Right? I like to say I'm a believer who enjoys living outside my comfort zone. Right? And the reason I say that is because one thing that I learned in my Toastmasters journey was nothing interesting happens inside your comfort zone. And when you step outside your comfort zone, it's not enough just to step outside. You need to believe in yourself. Right? So that for me is the crux of who I am. right? That being said, my professional journey, so I started my life, or my professional career in IT, but I never felt, home, right? So fortunately for me, over the years, I managed to move from technology into marketing. And today I run my own business, which is called Show and Tell, which is Sri Lanka's first presentation, design and strategy agency. And today, from a little office in Ratmalana, we create presentations for businesses in Sri Lanka, in USA, Australia, India, Singapore. And what's really interesting is a lot of Sri Lankan talent is behind what we create, right? And that professional journey started in a big way because of Toastmasters, right? So I'm sure later on in this podcast we'll discuss a bit more about it. But so Toastmaster, entrepreneur, and I'm now also working as a mentor and coach for a lot of startups, trying to raise funding outside Sri Lanka, working with them to help them tell their story. And that's a big part of what I believe Toastmasters taught me is how do you tell stories that connect with people, that resonate with people. And I want to take what I learned in Toastmasters and put that in the corporate world. So that's a little bit about me. Personally, I am the father of a beautiful 3-month-old, husband to a lovely wife, and started a very interesting journey a few months ago. So up to now, my Toastmasters journey, my professional journey was the exciting part. Now the journey of fatherhood is definitely the highlight of my life.
Even more exciting.
Even more exciting and more exhausting.
I can't relate, but then again, yeah, like your face says it all. Yes, and I believe when you were talking about your professional life, I just thought, okay, Toastmasters is only the common ground we would have in common to each other, but then again, yes, startups as well. So I'll be asking a few questions about it in the meantime.
Sure.
So that was actually an interesting introduction, a Toastmaster, entrepreneur, and a father. So yes, and all right. So now you spoke about teeny tiny bits about your Toastmasters journey, but something that all of us Toastmasters and also non-Toastmasters would like to know. How you started your Toastmasters journey, how it began, and where are you now? What it brought out from you, and what it made you.
Sure. So I would say my Toastmasters journey is a little different to what, or my Toastmasters origin story is probably a little different from what most people will share when it comes to their Toastmasters life. I didn't come to Toastmasters because I thought I need to improve my communication. I was a little cocky. I thought I was a pretty good speaker. And I was in marketing and sales, so we have to believe that we are good talkers.
Exactly.
But fortunately for me, a friend of mine and a good close colleague, we basically realized that, we had our lives revolved around work. We were going to work, coming home, there was nothing else. And we want to do something, other than work. So she suggested, there's this thing called Toastmasters. Shall we go check it out? I had no idea what Toastmasters was, and literally the only bit of information I had about Toastmasters was that there is a gentleman in this club with very long hair.
Okay.
And blindly followed her into the Toastmasters program. Once he came in, and I realized there was so much to learn. I started my career at Toastmasters at Marketers Toastmasters Club, was there for a good 5, I'm still a member of that club, but for about 3 years I was very comfortable inside my club. I didn't go beyond that. So I became the club president in 2015, and then I got the opportunity to work with members from other clubs, from other communities within Toastmasters. That was really when the whole opportunities of Toastmasters opened up, and I believe that's where I first stepped outside my comfort zone. And once I went out of my comfort zone, after that I started seeing opportunities and the chance to really do something without the fear of failure. And I think that's the biggest takeaway from Toastmasters, that this is a lab for us. We can fail, we can embarrass ourselves, but tomorrow you can go back to your meeting and you're totally fine. Your club will accept you with open arms, and no one will really humiliate you or put you down. So it became this safe environment. And over the course of the next 7 years, I got opportunity after opportunity as area director, division director, district PR manager, then subsequently a couple of other extended role players, and then finally the district chief judge. The main thing I realized, and then somewhere along this journey, I realized in Toastmasters I got into a habit of not saying no. So whenever opportunity presented itself, I was like, yeah, fine. And I think the best example of that is when I was given the opportunity to become the district PR manager. I still remember it like yesterday. It was around 7 a.m. in the morning, and the district director at that time, this distinguished Toastmaster Nurul Munawwara, called me, and I was fast asleep. I just picked up the phone. She said, Mafaz, will you be my district PR manager? And I said, I had no idea what this was. I said, yeah, sure. She said, okay, thank you, cut the line. I fell asleep. And I was like, there was no fear in taking up this role. Even though at that time I was not on any social media, and several Toastmasters used to make fun of me saying, you know, the first district PR manager who's not on Facebook, not on Instagram. But that was simply what Toastmasters taught me. You know, you have to believe in yourself, step outside your comfort zone, and magic happens. And that belief has really kind of molded me. So in everything else that I do, my professional career, my personal career, it's faith. Right? Things will work out. And if they don't, they'll still work out. Right? So I think that's my Toastmasters journey, and a little bit about what I've learned through that amazing journey.
That's awesome to hear. Actually, I think Toastmasters has brought about that leap of faith you need. And it's quite fascinating. I mean, like, to start your journey where you felt you don't need it, but then again now it plays a huge role in your life. So that's really awesome to hear. And yes, now as you said, and as I introduced you, being the CEO of your own startup, and also being a person into sales and marketing. So we know that your presentation skills are top notch, and yes, communication hand in hand. So something that's crucial about, I would say, youngsters and the youth who's getting into the job market, and anyone from any category, age category, especially in Sri Lanka. And if you try about in overseas, the ability to present yourself, no matter it's something you're selling or else just basically to present yourself out there, I believe presentation plays a very important role. And you being a master of presentation, I would really like to know how your startup journey, your professional aspect, has helped in this element of presentation, and how Toastmasters has done the magic for it, like how these two has been combined with the bridge of Toastmasters actually.
Right. That's a very interesting question, Prasansa. So I would say my Toastmasters journey and my professional entrepreneurial journey are hand in hand. The reason I say that is that it was in Toastmasters that I really discovered the art of communication, right? And I think that's key. It's an art. But I was always unhappy with the fact that this is an art, right? That exactly. You either have it or you don't have it, and like, you know, not everyone is going to be good at it. So one thing that I then, as a Toastmaster, and Toastmasters made me a student of communication. So what I did was I started really exploring communication in a bigger way, trying to understand what makes a good story. And that's when I realized that communication is not an art, it's a science. There is a formula, a method, an approach that you can apply to create good stories.
Exactly.
So I first started experimenting that within Toastmasters, in my speeches, seeing how the audience reacted to me, how they received what I was saying, how they internalized this, how they acted on it, how they reacted to it. And then with time, I started seeing, there's an opportunity here, right? Because like you said, today we have a lot of people coming into the corporate world. Sri Lanka is a beautiful country with a lot of talent. People who have amazing things. And, I think Sri Lanka has the potential to become the innovation, thought leadership hub of Asia. But one thing that a lot of our talented, people in our country, what they lack is that willingness to communicate. And I don't think it's not coming from a place of I don't know how to say what I have to say, but I don't believe in myself enough.
Exactly.
Right? So what I've kind of realized, and that's where Toastmasters came in, I wanted to create, I started seeing, presentations, and I started doing speeches, trying to make speeches that connect with audiences, and I started asking myself, when I was working as a marketing manager, I asked myself, can I bring some of these things into my business presentations, into my sales presentations, into my business pitches? And myself and my co-founder, we discussed it, we came up with some ideas, and she was from a content writing background and a marketing background, so we kind of put our heads together and we created this opportunity. We started experimenting with the presentations that we were doing at our workplace. And we started seeing results. And I thought, this works pretty well, but we are amateurs. We don't know, we are not graphic designers, we are not professional, we are just experimenting. So we started looking out, and we realized that in Sri Lanka, there's no other company that helps businesses with their presentations. And then we had to take this leap of faith, right? Do we leave our cushy job and go into the entrepreneur, the risky entrepreneurship journey? And I think Toastmasters was a big part of it, because just knowing that, whatever I've tried in Toastmasters, I've been able to succeed, gave me that confidence, right? And the two of us discussed it, and we thought, let's go into the market, create some awareness, and see what happens. And Toastmasters was a big part of that as well. When we started our business, some of the first customers that we reached out to were Toastmasters. And one of the ways we created a lot of awareness is we went to speechcraft programs, we volunteered to go and do presentations on visual aids, on delivering effective presentations at corporates through Toastmasters. So I think that, and again, it comes back to, we started our business by giving, right? Again, a Toastmasters mindset there. We just thought, we don't want anything from it. We just want to go out there, create some awareness, share some of our knowledge. And we kept on sharing, kept on talking to people, giving what we knew. And by the grace of God, a few years later, a few months later actually, we started seeing results, right? People started coming to us, wanting to work with us. And as an entrepreneur, one of the key skills you need to have is communication, being able to connect with people, talk to people, going up to strangers and introducing yourself and speaking to them in a very convincing manner. All of that is from Toastmasters, right? I think I would say 90% of who I am today and where I am today, I will directly attribute to Toastmasters.
That's actually great. Like the behind story of everything about your startup and how Toastmasters has done the majority of bringing out that essence is actually incredible. So I think with this podcast series, there should be something that viewers need to take home in the most simplest way. So I'm gonna just bring about a very simple question, which we can actually bring through maybe simple points. Because in the practical aspect, now people think you need to be an entrepreneur, you need to be a salesperson, you need to be a person who does constantly speaking a role like that, maybe a presenter. That's the person who needs presentation. But no, anyone, any basically each and every one of us really need presentation and communication. And I believe being a team leader, being a team member, presentation and communication is a must. So in the most practical aspect, what would you encourage our viewers to work upon to improve their presentation skills, their communication skills? And you can actually align with Toastmasters as well, because Toastmasters gives about all of it. But yeah, you can talk about an overall aspect about it all.
Sure. I think you're absolutely right. This mindset that only marketers, management, sales guys need to have presentation skills is redundant now, right? With things like artificial intelligence, automation coming into the world, jobs are changing, right? Like what you needed to do a degree for and do that, program online or some software can probably do it in 2 to 3 minutes, right? So what's going to, if all these jobs are becoming redundant and are being done by computers and AI, what's going to be left, right? It's going to be it's going to be the opportunities to communicate, right? To take what this technology is giving us and put that in human terms, right? So for me, that is really why communication is now important, right? It's not about just going and talking in a presentation with something on the background, trying to convince somebody. We are all presenters, right? Whether we work in a team, whether we work in accounts, in HR, in operations, we're all presenters, right? We have to share ideas, we have to convince people, we need to motivate people, inspire people. All of that comes in as part of our job role. If you think, I'm satisfied just being behind the desk, doing my typing, and then, everything will be fine, I'm sorry, that's going to be a very short career that you're going to have. So now what I see is, as people, it's no longer your hard skills. It's going to come down to soft skills. Can you communicate with somebody? Can you talk to somebody? Can you bond with somebody? Right? Can you express empathy? Right? Put yourself in somebody else's shoe. Build that connection. Build that bridge with someone, so that they believe in what you want to accomplish. Right? This skill is now rare. Right? We are in a world of digitalization. People are more comfortable. I went to McDonald's recently after a very long time, and I realized you don't need to go to the counter anymore and talk to a counter like a staff member. Exactly. You just go to a kiosk and just press a few buttons and your food turns up at your table.
No presentation, no talking.
Yeah, and I think that's saying something, right? Yeah. Like we are in a generation where people don't want to interact with others. Right? We are more comfortable sending a WhatsApp message or a SMS or whatever, rather than even picking up the phone and having a call.
No, that hits me hard. I'm not a call person at all.
and that's what's happening now, right?
Yeah.
But then as people, you need to be able to inspire people. You need to be able to motivate people. You need to be able to draw people into believing in what you're doing.
Very true.
Right? Whether it's to manage a project, whether it's to just get a task done, or whether it's to take your business to the next level. Right? You need to be able to do that. Right? And so that interpersonal skill development is where communications comes in, where presentations comes in, because you need to know how to talk in a way that people understand, people connect with you, and that's that storytelling skills, the willingness to be vulnerable, the willingness to share with the objective of connecting with people, right? So this is where I see, that people need to work on these things. Right? And whether and for me, all of that is presenting. Right? True. It's not just going in front of a board of directors, standing in there, talking and coming back. That connection, that's where the real what a presentation is connecting with somebody, giving and building a bridge. Right? You have tools to help you with that. Right? Your visual aids, your content, all of them are tools. But at the end of the day, you have to create a connection. Right? So now, if people want to do this, you have to be willing to put your phone down, go and experiment, try it out. And I think that's where Toastmasters is a really good place. I tell so many of the new members and people who I mentor, I think of Toastmasters as a 2-hour detox from technology, right?
Yeah.
Where you just talk to people, you connect with people, you build connection, so that you can go and do that with anybody, right? So for the youth who's coming out into the workforce in the coming years, I say, don't be satisfied being behind your screen, right? Push yourself, get outside your comfort zone. And if you want to do that in a safe environment, find something like Toastmasters, right? I hope I addressed what you
Yes, you really did. Like, actually, I got an understanding, like, and in the simplest way. I really realized with my own experience as a Toastmaster for these few years, okay, so me being on the phone almost all the time because I'm into marketing, and then realizing, okay, during Toastmasters meetings and Toastmasters events, I have less screen time. That's because I actually present myself and connect with others, just as you said, because presentation is not all about you playing a role and doing it about, but every day, even with the tuk driver, you're presenting yourself. So it's actually nice to see, nice to hear that we do it. It's a normal day-to-day kind of a thing that we feel it's less important, but it plays a huge role, because maybe your future CEO is the one you meet all of a sudden randomly when you're walking.
Yeah.
And if you present yourself in the most disrespectful manner or in a very negative way, that'll be a headshot. So yes, so we've come to the very end of this episode. So this is actually, I believe, since Mafaz is a very inspiring character, I believe you can bring about that standout moment in your Toastmasters journey that all of us would love to hear, where you feel, okay, this was the moment that made me, and this is the most magical moment of my Toastmasters journey. So as a seasoned Toastmaster, I would love to request you to share that standout moment with us and how it brought a profound impact to your life.
So to be honest, I think I am blessed that in my Toastmasters career, there have been numerous standout moments. But if I had to pick one and say, this was the one that really touched me, it was probably maybe around 2014, maybe 2013, 14, 1 or 2 years into my Toastmasters journey. I did a project at Toastmasters on visual aids. Right, so I had to come and do a presentation. I don't remember the presentation for the life of me. I think you'll remember, as Toastmasters we learn that, we do a presentation or a speech and then we don't remember what we did. So a year after that, so this was the first time I did a presentation in Toastmasters. And I delivered that presentation, forgot about it, completed my Toastmasters, the educational goal. A year later, when I told the president of my club at that time, I said, I'm thinking of exploring this business opportunity. She said, go for it. Because I still remember the presentation that you did last year, and it moved me and it touched me. And I still think about it when I find myself in a tight spot. And so apparently it was about stress relief. So she's like, when I get stressed, I think about your presentation. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Right? If that is the impact that you can create with just one presentation, and you can make someone's life better, right? That's the power of a good presentation, of a good story. So for me, that was that catalyst moment that said, let's try. Let's see if we can do more good with what we have, right? And that's where this journey started. And she was a big part of giving me the confidence to explore this opportunity. And with the blessings of the Lord, I'm thankful that, today we are a team that delivers presentations for, massive companies who have raised, my clients have raised over $95 million worth of funding through the presentation that we have created, right? So that's, I mean, I won't say it's my achievement, it's the people behind me who've really embraced the value of communication. Not just the words that we say, but what we show, how we do it, and really caring about the stories that we tell. Yeah, thank you for that question. It took me down to a very, it's like I've not thought about it for a long time. So thank you for reminding me that.
Yeah, that's actually the beauty of Toastmasters, I guess. We don't know, but the people around us, the Toastmasters, help us in a miraculous way.
Absolutely.
And I think like just your presentation was helping you out and giving this beautiful feeling. I think the speeches that we do, even just a project speech for a level, or basically an international speech we do during the international speech contest, has a lot of impact for the audience, to someone who's listening to us. Because just during this contest season, actually what I recall is that every speech has a take-home message. Every presentation has a take-home message. And in some way or the other, it touches our heart, and we have something to think about and reflect. Not maybe right after the presentation or speech, but after many years, like you're doing now. So that's the beauty of Toastmasters. And so, yes, with that, we've come to the very end of this amazing podcast. And I believe not about only presentation and communication. Mafaz was able to take us through his Toastmasters journey, how Toastmasters has been the bridge for his professional, personal life, and also how his startup brought out from the grassroots level to up here, and how it's helping many out there with their presentations, and how the real life scenarios brings about that beauty of presentation, because presentation is all about you communicating and networking, connecting. So I believe it was a very fruitful and insightful podcast, very interesting. I really loved this conversation. And thank you so much for joining us for this series. And yes, with that, with DTM Mafaz, I am Prashansa Gunawardhana, and this will be the end of this amazing Toastcast podcast series by District 82 Public Relations team. So tune in for another amazing episode with us.